Hey everybody, Brad Linder back at you again with number 354 on our daily sketch card run here. Going to share this over with the YouTube channel and the page real quick, and we're going to knock this out and have a little fun with it. So bear with me just a second while I do that. And there we go, cool deal. Now, I'm going to be knocking this out with mixed media, so we're going to have a little bit of fun with it. Hey Rob, glad you made it, man. Kevin, thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Now I'm going to see about doing this very simple with, like I said, mixed media. So I'm going to start off real quick, and I'm going to take a classic Sharpie to the chest emblem and the cape. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want it to be a little bit darker and more, just a little grittier, you know. Like Bizarro should be, from being from the Bizarro alternate universe world. And his stuff is always just a little bit darker than our universe, so I like to do it that way. Now, the reason that I'm using the Sharpie instead of an alternative red marker is because this one gives that true, almost leathery vinyl look that the capes give in the films, and it translates really well for that purpose. So I just like the depth of the color and the richness that goes on in it. So let's see how we do here. I'm going to do some blues with the pencils, and the reason I'm going to do that is because I want it to be a little bit different looking material. I have a couple of blue Sharpies that are sky blue, which would work perfect for this, but like I said, I want to do some different textures and things because I want this cape to look really dense and heavy. So that's why we're doing that. And I also want the emblem on the chest to look that way as well. Now I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, why didn't you do an action shot, perfect card for an action shot kind of thing? But I had done all these different profiles, and when I did this, I said that I was going to do the DC characters primarily in profile, because of the fact that I wanted them to get that classic trading card look that they didn't have any other place. So even in the DC cards, they were clips from the comics, and they really didn't have that kind of reach. So now I'm going to go straight in with this blue and knock this light blue out on the suit here to give it a fabric texture. The pencils have just enough grit to them without being smoothed out that they have a nice fabric look to them, and it works perfect for this. So, at least in my opinion. So I'm gonna knock it out that way. Bear with me here while I box this in so I don't go all over the place and catch this card. So it's already going to bow because I'm putting friction to it, so I don't want to tear it up. Just like all the rest, I want to keep it consistent. So there we go. Cool deal. Okay. Now, so we have the same line direction here. I'm going to box this in so I can get a medium border going on. And I'll catch this side first because it's a smaller area. And there we go. Now, if you don't know who Bizarro is, he is an alternate universe version of Superman. Now, there's a couple of different storylines to him. One, he's an alternate reality Superman. And originally, he was an alternate reality Superman. But Lex Luthor created, in the cartoon version, he was a clone of Superman that was supposed to be bad. And Lex Luthor created him in a lab, and then he went crazy, and that's the modern age version. But now what we have today is a high-end combination of that, the easiest way to say it, because now we get the alternate universe version, which he was summoned up. In the current story, he was summoned up from the alternate universe, looked like Superman, came into our universe, and then he decayed because he couldn't live in our environment. So that's the way they're saying it happened now. Hey, Hector. Hey, Wolfgang. Glad you made it, man. I haven't seen Wolfgang in a while. You guys are freaking me out coming up all of a sudden. But, so, anyway, um, I'm just going to kind of cover this just a little bit to give it that light blue texture underneath so that it'll show up. But as I was saying, though, in one incarnation, he was an alternate Lex Luthor creation from the lab. And then in another, the original telling of the story was that he was from an alternate universe, and they've gone back to that at DC now. So he's his own thing because they didn't want to have that compete with the Cyborg Superman from the Reign, and they didn't want that to compete with the more modern Doomsday storyline where he was a Kryptonian and he mutated. They don't want to do that, so they've gone back to that original version. So now he's just the alternate reality Superman as he originally was, without question. And like I said, the reason I'm doing two tones here is because this will show through just a little bit, and it'll give it that nice fabric look. So it gives it a little more fabric edge, which I really dig. So we're going to make sure that we get that going on. I'm trying to cover as much territory as I can without burning the card here, because when you use pencils, you dig in and you put little micro creases in there every time you lay a line, and it has a habit of making the card bow and the texture, the paper texture change due to compression. So, you know, you have to be very cautious about that and not be heavy-handed and be very careful. So, anyway, with that said, we have Bizarro. And now, because it is the dark version of Superman, we're going to go with bright yellow in here, just like Soup's, but then we're going to wash it out with an orange and a gray to make it look nasty. So, make it look much darker. You know, it's not that. I've got the lamp up against it. Let me adjust that real quick. I noticed that the last couple of videos too. Let me get that away. Now it doesn't have full contact. Now it shouldn't shake. So thanks for letting me know that, Damien, or Dave. Damien just sent me a message on that right before the show too, and that's the reason I did that. But yeah, man, it's a lot more stable that way. And I've moved it since I changed this lighting. So I have a habit of going over and shaking the heck out of my stuff. Thanks for letting me know and reminding me to move that. That way we can quit that, because the table will shake a little because of the position that I'm at, but it shouldn't shake near as much. But I'm so heavy-handed with these, even when I'm light-handed with them, I tend to shake the table, and the camera connection was right up against it, and I had to move the apparatus back so it would stop that. But I'm glad you said something, man. I noticed that in a couple of the videos too. I was just like, man, that I keep shaking the card. So if it shakes a little as I go over this, that's one thing, but yeah, we need to tone that down a little. So thanks for saying something, Dave. Got me to move it right quick so we didn't have that problem. It was because of the fact that the camera's right next to the table where I moved everything. And for safety purposes, I put the camera stand like right up against the edge of the desk. And I've started getting into that bad habit of propping the lamp right up against the bar that comes across. So much better. Trying to get some of these things in here. Now, in my version of Bizarro, I like to give him a little beefier look, And by doing so, I give him this funky look of a bigger nose, a larger brow, a little more simian look. And I just like to give him more of an ape look because of the fact that, you know, more primitive and Neanderthal type of thing going on. And the reason I do that is because of the fact that he's supposed to be a lot heavier than Superman, and he de-evolves as he's here. So that's a big thing for me too. That's a big plus. You know, we get a lot of that smoky look from the white pasty skin, and then we get the gray for the natural shadows of the white. And some people will go in with purples and blues and all that stuff, and I really don't like doing that because it doesn't give a skin texture to me. It gives more of a wax texture kind of thing, and it looks good on the animated series when they go in with the blues and the grays and stuff. But for me, the blues and the purples. But for me, I prefer the gray because it just gives it a cleaner and creepier look. So I like to do that. But there we go, Bizarro skin. Yay, he's colored. Now I'm going to go in with this super smoky dark gray. Yeah, you know, Nathan, I appreciate that, man. I did this set in the same line. So yeah, that's why we got the extreme close-ups on the DC stuff, because he does go with that Solomon Grundy card. And matter of fact, this goes in the sketchbook as one of the cards for DC that I'm doing. So good deal. Glad you're digging it, because that's one of my favorite cards. That Solomon Grundy character is way underused for practical purposes, and he's used as grunt work in the comics, and it's kind of sad because it's such a cool character, and DC doesn't take advantage of the fact that he could be a mainstream character and really become a major villain for someone. I would like to see Batman or maybe Batman or maybe the Flash go against him. I don't think Green Lantern or Superman would really have that good of a go, because, you know, Superman can take him and Green Lantern would just fly him off and encapsulate him somewhere and it'd be done. But if you really wanted a grunt fight, I think that Superman or I'm sorry, Batman or the Flash or someone like that would be really cool with that. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give him these crystal blue eyes, which look like ice in most cases. And because he was supposed to be a replica of Superman, I like to do this, and then go in with a brighter blue and wash it out even more to kind of mix it up and give it a dual tone look. And then what I like to do is go back in with a gray and go right along that edge to give it that zombie look that we're so used to with him. That cold alternate reality crackled skin type of look. And then right here above the edge of the eye, I'll tint that eyeball just a little bit to show that heavy brow. And that makes his eye look a little wet. Gives a little more depth. And we go right up underneath here, just under the edge of the lip, and give him a little bit darker shadow right there along the teeth to show that it's inside the mouth. Same thing along the bottom, on the inside of that lip there. So go back with the light and go back on the dark side of the teeth. See, it would be over here on that one. On that one, it'd be over here, right there, right there, right there. Now, the reason I'm doing this is to give it a little bit of an organic feel, just based on where the light would hit. Kind of pull that out a little bit. But I'm going to go back down over this yellow with this orange now to tone everything down a little bit, because of the fact that I want it to be that dark, like I said, that dark alternate reality version that we're used to. I'm going to do that real quick. Now, let's see how that looks. Cool. All right. Now, I'm going to grab, I think the occasion calls for it. I think I'm just going to come out with a huge orange here and paint this up. Now, most people wouldn't want an orange on it, but I want it to contrast the red and the blue. So that's what we're going to do right here. Trying not to drag any graphite I may have missed into my orange here, because that's not what I want to do in this case. Just want to make it smooth and clean all the way around, so we can get that nice and even. Try not to go too many directions here. Oh, look, it's an Andy Warhol painting. We're going to go every direction, everybody. Sorry. I did a case study on him the other day, and I learned that he would paint very sporadically. Just, you know, he was all about finding the core and finding the center and whatnot, and very eccentric about it. And he would talk about finding the way, you know, let the brush lead the way kind of deal. And I'm just not that, I'm not that whimsical with my work. I'm more strategic. And nothing against him. I love his work. But yeah, I mean, it was, you know, the 60s. So whatever works. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that technique. So I prefer to have work that's a little more practical, a little more streamlined. I read that he used to talk to pickles, and I don't know if that's true or not, but I had read that he was talking to pickles in a jar for a while. So very, very interesting character nonetheless. But anyway, so with that said, I'm not going to go Andy Warhol style. I'm just going to let it dry the way it is. And we've got another one for the books. So I will catch you guys later. And thanks for stopping on. As I always say when I end these things, we've got this little rock for a little while. It's a cool party and we're hanging out. But let's leave it better for the next generation. Catch you guys tomorrow. Thanks again. See ya.